I mean, who doesn't want a little extra Pete the Planner show on a Wednesday afternoon? Hello, everyone. It's the Pete the Planner show randomly on a Wednesday afternoon. For those that listen via podcast, nothing to see here. Joining me today is the traffic criminal, Damian Dunn. Hello, Dame.
I have no idea what you're referring to.
You were coming in late to the program today with some other duties that you had, and you admitted to several traffic crimes to get here with 30 seconds to spare, mind you.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. None of that ever happened, allegedly.
Jen, good to see you. What a great surprise, she says. Here's the thing. It's such a great surprise, Jen, that you are literally the only person viewing right now. Maybe, I don't know. Happy New Year, Dame. It is 2026, and Kristen will be back regularly soon. She's finishing maternity leave. Maggie had her first Christmas. Kristen played a fun trick on the holiday card that she sent me and chose to not play the same trick on you.
What is it shareable here, or are you gonna have to tell me that elsewhere? Because I looked at that card and I was like, I have no idea what she's talking about.
On the she addressed it to Mr. and Mrs. Sarah Dunn.
Oh, okay.
Mrs. and Mr. Sarah Dunn. And she said she would have done it for you, but you would have gotten mad.
I wouldn't have gotten mad.
I've seen you get mad. No, I haven't. Dame, how are you?
I'm good. It's been it was a quiet holiday break for us, and it's just the way I like it. Not running all over the place and getting to just relax, unwind, spend some time with family and friends. Come back refreshed and ready to go in 2026.
Let's come in hot with a political take for you today.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm ready. Here we go. Are you ready?
Yep.
President Trump announced a plan today that might be my favorite policy decision he's ever made.
I've been not paying any attention to social medias or news, so this will be my reaction will be genuine.
Now, it happens to be bookended by a bunch of my least favorite policy decisions he's ever made.
That's all right. Good to bad.
Trump says, this is a headline on CNBC, Trump says U.S. to ban large investors from buying homes.
Good. Great.
Now, I don't love regulation. However, a big reason why housing is so unaffordable in the United States is because of these large investment groups, large companies coming in and snapping up all the homes.
Yeah, I think hopefully they'll have the foresight and lump big tracts of land along with that farmland or whatever else, and keep companies and foreign entities out of that area of our economy.
So there you go. Look at me being positive.
That's great. Maybe it's new Pete 2026, looking for the positive.
Jen mentioned she was in Indy over the holidays, and she considered looking for our headquarters during her visit, maybe next time. Well, we have a giant sign on the building. If you're at 96 and Meridian, if you're heading north into Pleasantville, if you look to your left, you'll see our sign. Dame, did you get any fun holiday gifts this year?
Oh boy, talk about putting somebody on the spot, especially if they came from family and they say no. That's a tough one. I did. I got a couple of kits on like old fashioned kits.
Oh yeah,
which is wonderful. I had one or sampled one with some friends who made it up, and then as you know, I will likely not be sampling any more alcohol for a little while based on some other goals that I've got that I'm trying to achieve. So it was very appreciated, delicious, but I'm going to have to put pause on those kits myself. So how about yourself? Anything noteworthy that you'd like to share with the audience?
Nope. I got junky gifts. No, I'm just kidding. Everything's fine. All right. Dame, we did have young Theodore with an injury over the break.
Yeah.
And your fella's dealing with some sports stuff too. So there you go. Look at the TDs are down for the count.
Not a great time to be a young Dunn.
No, it isn't. All right, let's start the program. Is that a big vacuum?
Yeah, and then you were a little bit muffled. It lasted longer than it normally does this time.
Who knows? I would love to blame Kristen, but
I think
you
we
know
still
what? Let's do it anyway.
Yeah, I think we still can.
She's terrible. I think this is a meaty topic today. And I was out with our colleagues about 20 minutes ago saying, "Oh, I gotta do a podcast today." and they said, "What's it about?" And I said, "Actually, a really good topic." And I started to explain it, and they were like, "Oh, that is interesting." But
Really?
they
Were
may
they
have said
really
that.
like that? Yeah.
Well, I signed their paycheck, so I don't know if it really was interesting or not. I actually don't. I've never looked at one of our paychecks because they don't actually come they're all digital. So is there a paper? Is there a image?
I don't know if there's an image. I mean, the stub, I guess is what, the where all the facts and figures
Yeah.
are. I mean, that's about as far as I get. And if we're being completely honest, it's not all that frequent that I get that far either.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. And here's what me and my band of merry, gentle men and women will do. We'll discuss your question and even provide an answer to you on this illustrious radio program and podcast. Joining me today to start 2026 is none other than my namesake, Damian Dunn. Hello, Dame.
Hello, Pete.
Kristen is still celebrating the holidays. No, Kristen is on maternity leave. She'll be back soon, and she's doing great. I talked to her just yesterday, and I know Dame did too, and she says hello to none of you. All right, Dame, this week on the show, we're going to hit you with a ton of facts and figures from a recent study, survey, paper, white paper that just came out that incredibly validates my hypothesis that I've held for a really long time. And that is that if people only knew how poor of a job most Americans are doing at saving for retirement, they wouldn't have near the level of confidence and comfort that they do. Is that a little harsh to start the year?
No, I mean, we see when we're talking about numbers nationwide and in the aggregate, it's really easy for people to say, well, doesn't pertain to me. I'm doing fine. I'm killing it. Statistically, a good chunk of you aren't. You're not doing as well as you think. And so hopefully some of what we talk about today, it wasn't nearly as nerdy as Pete made it sound as he was laying it out. Maybe it is, but we're going to make it not as nerdy as it is. And hopefully you'll be able to have some takeaways from this to maybe at least just double check your work. Go back and make sure you're at where you're at and you're on track to get where you want to go. So hopefully we can provide you some value today.
I'm going to hit you with one number off the top that is unbelievable. It's so bad. It is so bad. Where's this all from? Who did the study? Do you know?
JP Morgan, I believe.
The small community bank of
Yes.
JP Morgan. 85% of retirement plan participants never hit a contribution rate of 10%.
That's just bonkers.
It is bananas. So let me ground us a little bit in some perspective.
Yeah.
Think of your gross income, everyone, which is pre-tax, pre-everything, and let's just call it $100,000 because it is good round numbers. To set aside $10,000 would be to set aside 10% of that gross income, and that can often occur in a few different ways. But one of the primary ways is your own contributions as opposed to your employer's contributions.
Mm-hmm.
All in, as a working person, when you start your career, your contributions plus your employer's contributions should be somewhere in aggregate 12 to 14% if you start at that level at the beginning of your career. And if you do that, if you put in 8% and your employer puts in 4, which equals 12, and you do that at the beginning of your career and throughout your entire career, you're going to be in great shape. Dame, there's a massive problem though.
I'm thinking you're going to say that nobody starts at that level.
No one's putting, I mean, like, yeah. In fact, we have the math here. There is a significant amount of people who start at the wrong level. They're putting in so little. Their average contribution rates start below 5% and
Mhm.
they peak around 8%, even near retirement. So that is to say, this is a massive problem. Like, yes, we want people to invest and we want people to use their retirement plans. Some people don't want others to use their retirement plans. I happen to think they're a good vehicle. People are not putting enough money in, Dame.
No, they just aren't, and that's the black and white of the matter. And listen, I know somebody out there is listening will like, student loan payments and things are so much more expensive than they are today, and there's a number of reasonable reasons that somebody could say that this is why I'm not doing it. Okay, you have to pick your own battles, but know that for the math to work, this is the target that you need to be at. And what Pete mentioned is if you're doing that 12 to 14, I've seen as high as 16% in some studies. If you're not doing that the first, let's just call it decade of your working career, you're going to have to crank that up to catch up. And guess what? At that time, now you've got all sorts of other new excuses on why you can't get it. Kids, housing, maybe you're starting to take care of your aging parents as well. There's a number of uh, competitors for those dollars that you are earning, and you're going to have to start prioritizing and making decisions. So, what's going to be right for you? That's up to you. But if retirement is near the top of that podium, you're going to have to make some decisions.
Half of people, according to this JP Morgan, or what are we calling it? A report? What do we call it?
Study? I think study sounds a little
Sure.
Yeah, let's go study.
According to JP Morgan's study, half of people do not increase their contributions year over year, even early in their career. So half of people do not increase. They pick a percentage, stick with the percentage, ride it out to failure.
Oh, they're increasing something, Pete. They are increasing their standard of living, would be my guess. Instead of they're taking care of their future selves, they're taking care of their current selves. So almost, I don't think there's probably a plan in existence anymore that doesn't have an auto escalation feature inside of the 401k or 403b or whatever employer sponsored retirement plan you've got. That is low hanging fruit to help you achieve future success. So if you haven't chosen that, I highly encourage you to go back into your plan, check that little box. If you can afford to do 1% a year, great. Do 1%. If you can't, pick half a percent, pick something, but at least keep the ball moving forward. If you get that to sync up around the time you get your raises, even better.
I do love this idea of let's try to quantify what a 1% increase looks like.
Okay.
Dave, let's say it was 23 years ago and you were 25 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild. We're so close to 50. Remember, everyone, we're 50-ish.
Yeah.
At 25, if you had increased from 24 years old, at 25, if you increased your savings by 1%, just that one time, the study suggests there's $84,000 more at retirement for that one time increase. And all you have to do is stack on 20 of those 1% increases, or let's be more realistic and say 10 of those 1% increases, and things get pretty interesting pretty quick, Dame.
Yeah, you don't time is on your side until it's not, which is a horrible saying.
Wow.
Yeah. But if you can get started on this earlier and let compounding do its thing, goodness gracious, it's going to be so much easier than sitting down at the dinner table in your late 30s or early 40s and saying, "Hey, we probably ought to take this seriously. How much is it going to take to get us to where we want to be?" And then promptly losing your appetite for the next 2 days.
So what we're going to do during this episode is we're going to talk about what the real numbers are, what usually prevents people from saving the right amount. A lot of these things you already know. But our goal in this is for you to literally go into your account and make a percentage change. If you're listening to this show and you've not done it yet in 2026, We want you to bump into your retirement account. And we want to increase the percentage by at least 1%. I know how many people listen to this show on a regular basis. I know that if a vast majority of you go in and do that, we are talking about millions and millions of dollars saved because of this show today. And that would make us very happy. Also, coming up after the break, we'll talk about the one profession that I think has the best chance to retire based on their income, and it's a lower pay than you think. And all of that is next right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. It's a weird long tease. Dame sponsors are back, I believe, next week. So we'll see. A week without sponsors. Oh, how can I even afford to broadcast?
Well,
Daddy.
Guess we'll find out.
All right. Dame, doing a show at 3:30 on a Wednesday is not ideal.
I mean, I kind of had something to do with that, but
I did. It was my fault.
I mean, you suggested time. I said later. Let's do it. Even later than you suggested. And here we are.
Do you care about the IU football?
I mean, I love that it's a good story. Do I have a whole drawer full of crimson and cream to throw on for the show or for the game? No, I do not. So I'd love for it the run to continue, just because I think it's an amazing story. What they've been able to accomplish over the last couple of years. But if they get beat, I'll be sad for about 5 seconds and move on.
Yeah, it's a fun story. I'm watching it. I like it. All right. Let's do some things here. Let's do it.
Might as well. We're here.
We're here. All right. Let's come back in 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner Show, talking about why 85% of retirement plan participants, let me say this a different way, 85% of people putting money into a 401k or like instrument are not reaching a 10% contribution level. That's bad. That's according to a new study by J.P. Morgan. And Dame, let's talk about why. There's a sort of a silent killer at the beginning of all of this, and those are loans. Some people don't even know you can take loans on your 401k, and I wish the rest of people also didn't know you can take loans on your 401k. What do people need to know here?
First, not everybody can. It's plan specific. So if your employer has chosen not to make loans available to their employees, good for them. Just I'll be upfront, good for them. But 1 in 5 people are taking 401k loans, and that means that there's a couple things going on. You'll hear people say, "Well, I'm paying myself back with interest." Sure, I suppose that's right. But if you aren't making contributions during that time, you're not getting the match. Those dollars are no longer getting growth either, and it's going to really start slowing you down as far as your overall accumulation in the 401k. And what we often see, though, and there's no data in this study to back this up, but anecdotally, once you break the seal on 401k loans, it rarely stops at one 401k loan. You go back to that well time and time and time again. And that's more indicative of a spending issue in your life rather than anything else. So there are some challenges that you have to get around when you are talking about 401k loans. Are they easy? Yep. Some would probably argue too easy to get your hands on, but they present a tremendous problem for the employee.
Here's another aspect of this. The average 401k loan equals 17% of the participant's account balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to call that 20% for giggles here. So that's to say at any given time, 20% of your money is not exposed to growth opportunities in the market. And that seems very bad. Also, 44% of people who take on a new 401k loan are using more than 50% of their credit card limit. So that is to say that not only are they exposed to the debt through their retirement plan, but they also have 50% of their credit line in use too. And Dame, this gets into the bigger issue here of why debt is so problematic for retirement. Nearly half of households in America carry revolving credit card debt across all age groups. And baby boomers with high credit card utilization have 40% fewer assets, 40% lower balances than those without. Is this causation or correlation? What are we dealing with here?
It's a great question. I don't know if it would be really interesting to do a study on which of those it tends to trend more towards, but obviously there's a correlation here. But I would love to know if that's the causation side, because i the whole goal of working towards retirement in the best of circumstances is to not need lots of the dollars that you've set aside for retirement. It just gives you all the chances in the world to try and make those dollars last as long as you possibly can. But if you are funding prior decisions or paying for prior decisions that you made with dollars that you saved for your future self, man, you are draining that account way faster than it needs to. And so if you can get your spending under control before you get to retirement, have all of that credit debt card debt wiped out as soon as possible. I mean, because if we're going back into the accumulation side of things, you're preventing yourself from accumulating an even bigger balance in that retirement vehicle. So uh, carrying debt, as long as those dollars are going to be reinvested or invested into some account, I don't care if it's 401k, IRA, brokerage account, whatever it is, for retirement purposes, credit card balances and spending decisions will absolutely hamstring you.
I have a question that not only is its own entire episode, but arguably its own entire year of podcasts. I want you to do your best to answer this realistically, or maybe we figure out a way to make it happen. Can a person straight up reset their financial life mid-stroke, mid-career? Can they not eat a bunch of rice and beans and don't do anything for it, but I'm just like straight up reset? And what would that look like to start over your percentages? Maybe say it that way. Does it require a person to shed obligations? Does it require them to change housing? Like, what does it take? Can a person hear this today and go, well, I'm not saving nearly enough for retirement, and my one chance, and no, literally, this is your one chance, is to hit reset? Is that possible?
So the biggest challenges are going to be what you mentioned: debt obligations. Housing is going to be the chief among those. Can they get out of what they're in, and B, find something else that is more affordable for them? And if they will they then have the ability to redirect those dollars into either paying off additional debt that they've accumulated, or saving for the future, for whatever that may be? And then just general spending behavior, because mid-career, I mean, if we're going to put an age on this, Pete, we can say early 40s maybe,
Yeah.
or somewhere around there. Very rarely do people maintain the same standard of living from when they first enter the workforce in their early 20s to the time they're in their early 40s. So it's going to have to be a very conscious decision to step back and live a little bit leaner, a little bit more strategically and consciously, to be able to use those dollars somewhere else for something that you're not going to see the benefit for another 20 plus years in those instances. So mentally, and maybe even socially, there's going to be some challenges for somebody to press reset on that. I think it's a great question. I think it'd be a really interesting study, or just to lay out some examples of how somebody could potentially do this. But there are a number of significant challenges that come along with that. Is it possible? Absolutely. Will it take a lot of gumption, as Grandpa used to call it? Yes.
We're going to have a grandpa discussion point here in a moment. It's basically the conversation you and I had this morning when we got to connect about being old now. But I want to anchor this in some numbers, if I can, for a second. The average worker in the United States with a peak salary of $80,000, their income replacement level in retirement is on average 81%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I'm going to round a bit, but that means that person needs to replace $64,000 of income in retirement. And a portion of that is going to be Social Security, and their assets have to do the rest. Dave, I mentioned before the break, there's this one profession. This is crazy anecdotal. I have zero data.
Okay.
I've been doing this for a quarter century. There is one profession that I think retires better than any other profession, and I'm the CEO. No, teachers.
Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say.
You take a
Well,
teacher, or you take. Go ahead.
I, um, I guess maybe my only caveat to that would be depending on the state you live in, because
Sure.
there may be Social Security not included in some of those. Of course, hopefully that means the pension's even more robust than it might otherwise be. But uh, you have a lot of opportunities. I'm not going to try and step on your toes, so I'll let you finish your thought.
Yeah, and it's a very weird thing to talk about because it's condescending. And it's that if your income level is at stasis most of your career, that it just bumps up, there's no big swings, but it's really reliable. It's not up and down, it's just steady. And it's low enough that it doesn't afford a massive lifestyle, then replacing that income in retirement is so much easier. So, yeah, telling a group of teachers, hey, your retirement's going to be great because you don't make a ton of money right now is not a fun message to deliver, but it's true. And next on the Pete the Planner Show, we'll talk about the other statistics in this survey. I'm Pete the Planner.
You're 100% right, though.
Gosh, I know it's so hard to say out loud, though.
I mean, I know this. I watched it happen multiple times, but I've got two very close family members, teachers, well, former teachers, lived within their means when they were working, retired, collected Social Security, collected two pensions, and they still earn more money than they spend on a month-to-month basis without tapping required minimum distributions.
I want to make it clear that I am not suggesting teachers get paid plenty, and that's why teachers get what they get. They get 3 months off. Like, I'm not doing that. I don't believe either of those things. I don't. But a strange side effect to that modest income, respectfully, is a higher propensity to retire successfully.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so weird. I also have the worst one if you want to hear it.
Let me hold on. I want to think. I mean, is it a very specific profession, or are you going for like maybe?
I'm going specific, and I've got two, but then both you should be able to guess.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no, you're guessing them. What do you mean? Go ahead, tell you the guesses.
Attorney,
That's number one.
doctor.
No, real estate agent.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense too.
Yeah, attorney's a number one.
Yeah.
Again, I'm making generalizations. You know what happens when you make generalizations, boys and girls? Most attorneys I know, it's just hundreds, honestly. I'm being honest with you. It's hundreds. Have a lifestyle that often finds its way towards their income. And that's a problem. Because when your income drops off the cliff from partner income to retirement income, trying to replace that with lifestyle creep involved is brutal.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting that teachers who have a modest career earnings can have a better retirement than attorneys who often have absurd career earnings and their retirement suffers for it?
I wonder if there's probably not, any law firms in the country that hire their own in-house financial planner to help clients. I mean, not only their employees, but the clients with, settlements or anything.
I'm sure. I mean, that's such a good idea that it has to be true.
Because I know there are plenty of financial advisors that have JDs.
Sure.
But I just wonder if it's gone as far as to say, hey, here at Smith and whatever, a law firm.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
got you.
We have our own financial planner that will help you not blow the massive settlement that we're going to get you.
Dame, breaking news as I peruse my email inbox during a show, which is a terrible idea.
Yes. Yeah.
Terrible idea. Here's the thing. There's 5 reasons why I shouldn't be the type of, or that I am the type of person that should never, ever be distracted in an environment like this.
Mm-hmm.
I will be back out in Scottsdale and I'm going back to the Fat Ox in March.
Yeah, good for you.
Here's the problem. I just saw it come through. Speaking somewhere. It is on my wife's birthday. No.
Is it perhaps at a place that she would want to visit and take a couple days off too?
Could take a couple days off, Dame. Let's think about what this means. It means that my house is thrown into chaos with our children. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, maybe
little pampering for Mrs. Planner around her birthday at a luxurious resort.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll take a look. Gosh, my email Slack's popping on. Dang, this is terrible today. This is a terrible time to do a show.
It's Kristen and I can't carry you because Kristen's not here. It's just me.
Kristen and I can't carry you. Okay. All right. Let's dry January, right? You're doing dry January?
Yeah, probably gonna be well into February and maybe even March at this point.
I've been eating pretty clean so far this year. I'll tell you this: I've had a doozy of a day, and as my Midwestern roots would suggest, I stress eat. So I pity the pantry once I get home tonight. What is going in this face hole?
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, it's okay.
I guess it's better than 3 fingers of Glenlivet.
I mean, calories are calories, right?
In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, JP Morgan Bank put out a study suggesting that we're in trouble retirement savings wise. Is that what they named the study, Dame, or the report?
I think that was exactly it.
We're in trouble. There's some interesting things coming out of it as to why most Americans are in trouble retirement wise. The odd part about this study, Dame, I don't know how far you made it down this, but the odd part about this study was basically to say that's why you should use their target date funds.
No, I didn't get that far.
Respectfully, again, I'm not beating up on JP Morgan for trying to sell target date funds, but they were like, and that's why you should use our target date funds. But listen to this. Yeah.
So inside baseball, to get this report, there was a screen where you had to enter your email address and check a box to confirm that you were a financial advisor. Now, I did that, and it said, you can't do this, or it's not available, or blah 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 blah. And so I tried to access it by fibbing a little bit about what I did. And once it told me I couldn't do that, I said, well, how else could I do this? I know, I'll go to the Googles. And I Googled it, and the PDF came up immediately, and I just started going at it. So the long story is, do you remember, Pete, back in the day when we were doing this, you'd get marketing material that was like for investment advisor use, or you'd not to be shown to the public.
Yeah.
It still had that feeling to it at this point. So we're giving a peek behind the curtain, kind of.
Well, I didn't even look. Does it say for internal use only?
I don't know if it does or not. I hope not. But we're not financial advisors, so they can't pull our licenses.
How about this one? 15% of workers ages 20 to 29. Okay, so think back a couple decades.
Okay.
15% of workers cash out their retirement accounts when changing jobs. That seems low.
Yeah, I think that's probably low.
And then the dumb follow-on statistic to that is 94% of those people's withdraw 100% of their balance. Yeah, of course they do. I mean, if we're being honest, I have cashed out a retirement account, a small one back in the day, because I was just like, whatever.
And I mean, that might be a little misleading, because now if you transfer, if you quit and you move to a different job and your account has less than $5,000, I think maybe even less than 1,000, they are required to cash you out and send you a check. And if it's less than $5,000, you have the option to do that, or they can kick you out and say, hey, you got to transfer it or take the check at that point. So, some of these things may not be really lining up with what they're trying to say, but I mean, I guess if the money comes out, then the money comes out.
Okay. How about this one? This one hit me in the gut a bit. 26% of people exit their retirement plan within 3 years of retirement via a full cash out withdrawal. 26% of people fully cash out. And so, Dame, you're going to have to explain the significance of that because it may not sound like a big deal, but it's the worst deal, actually.
So there's one way that this makes a huge difference. If you are in a traditional 401k or 403b and you take that distribution, you now have a significant tax bill going to Uncle Sam that you're not going to avoid it. Now, if you've used a Roth, okay, now you got to check. What are you going to do with it?
But yeah, then it's going into cash. I mean, theoretically, it's going into someone's savings account, which is like, why is it still not working?
Yeah, I mean, so you've got when a financial planner sits down and creates a financial plan for you, very rarely does that projection include taking an entire account out and putting it in cash for the duration of your retirement. So, just not having the opportunity for those dollars to continue working for you is a significant drawback to the long-term stability of your financial security.
How about this fun one? Math on the radio is good.
That's great.
Okay, 60% of new retirees experience year-to-year spending changes of 20% or more. So that is to say, year one of retirement, you spend $80,000. Year two of retirement, you spend $96,000 or more. That tracks, dude. I mean, because it's a whole other ball game. Oftentimes, people in swings, by the way, it doesn't necessarily mean an increase. It can be a decrease. You come out hot, you back off. But how about this one? This one blew me away. 54% of retirees ages 75 to 80 still see spending swings of 20% annually. Ooh. That is terrifying.
Okay, so let's hypothesize. What are those spending swings likely due to? I mean, medical costs can be right up there because you're getting into the age where things are slowing down and you're going to need some attention.
I'm going to go. Okay, so that's a really good one. I'm going to go housing maintenance. It's a sort of a lane, like someone's been in their house so long, they got to get a new roof and there wasn't hail, so they got to pay for it.
Could be. You think some of them get a little overconfident, start making some gifts to grandkids or maybe helping out with some college?
Not the average American. Not the average American. I think it's got to be medical, dude. I think that's the only reasonable explanation.
I think it's most of the explanation, but I'm sure there's some tertiary reasons that are floating around there.
Geez, he went right from primary to tertiary. What about the secondary?
Yeah, I skipped that one entirely.
How about this one? 44% of now I'm going to go this direction. Social Security benefits are often 20 to 35% lower than common financial planning models assume. Now that one's interesting. So when you go to your financial planner and they say, well, you have this much money in Social Security income, what reality suggests is it's 20 to 35% less. Dave, that's a little scary.
I'm trying to figure out who made the estimate of what those retirement contributions are going to be, because when you go to the Social Security Administration website and you look up what those projections are going to be for your retirement income, they are based on some assumptions. If you go to full retirement age, obviously that you are going to make what you're making with a slight increase for each of those years. If you get a reduction in your job duties and your pay goes down, or you take another job, maybe a part-time job to get through to full retirement age, or whenever you choose to take your Social Security benefits, those will absolutely impact, or could absolutely impact, I should say, your long-term Social Security benefits. So I'm sure there are some good reasons on there, but I'm curious if maybe there's an estimation issue going on in there versus a big surprise.
Yeah, listener David on our Facebook Live right now says taxes,
Sure.
account for that too, because that's an easy way to account for that percentage. Final statistics I'm going to hate with today, and I think it might bring some hope to this conversation, but it's a little confusing. Regardless of income level, households typically need 39 to 44% of their retirement income funded from their savings. Okay, so no matter how much money your income level you're at, roughly 40 to 44% is going to come from your assets as opposed to Social Security. Dame, that's interesting because I'll be frank with you. As I do my own retirement planning, I have 100% of the income coming from my retirement savings.
And I think that's not uncommon. I think a lot of people conservatively try and plan on footing the bill themselves, but it's usually much less of a percentage. But that doesn't mean we necessarily take our eye off the ball on what we're trying to accomplish. Because if you can pull that off, Social Security or any other source of income, just make it gravy at that point.
So this was illuminating, right?
I hope so.
There was a annual retirement confidence survey that comes out, I think, in February or March. So it'll be out soon, about how confident Americans are in their ability to retire. So we're going to have to match it up with these realities that JP Morgan has just shared with us, because my gut tells me that this study says people are in trouble, and the confidence survey we're going to read in the next 45 days is going to say people don't know it.
Yeah.
Always interesting. All right, coming up after the break, biggest waste of money of the week. Dame, holy Moses, this is one. And the news right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. I've got a really good Blom this week.
I get excited when you get excited about your Blom.
I have some thoughts about this Blom, and I want to be careful about it because I don't want to get sued.
That's a good reason.
Like defamation or anything.
All right.
So now you're interested.
I am even more interested. I just realized that I have not read the copy for any of my news stories today. So it could be a monumental reading performance for me today.
David asked when we're going to do the stock picks.
We're not doing anything about stock picks.
We're going to do it when Kristen gets back.
Okay. We'll do them when Kristen gets back.
So we will we will give our winners and losers from last year, and we will pick our new ones. Is she back Friday? Next Friday?
Should be.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week right here on the Pete the Planner Show is the 9 Neo humanoid home robot. Most people would appreciate an extra set of hands helping around the house. The number of people who would be okay with those hands being robotic is unknown, but we'll find out soon enough. It's called the 1X Neo home robot, not the 9. It's not a Roman numeral. Is among the first in a small group of humanoid robots aiming to free up their owner's time and become a part of the family. Neo works autonomously by default and can be programmed to tackle any chore it doesn't already know. It also interacts with family members and can respond to questions or even jokes. Lightweight and quiet, it has a deformable 3D lattice that wraps around internal components for a soft, more natural foam form, and tendon-driven actuators for gentle movements. Its knit outer suit provides a less polarizing appearance and is available in 3 colors. A deposit secures a place online with U.S. delivery starting in 2026. It will be available for a monthly subscription or a standalone purchase. Dame, I watched videos of this afternoon doing household chores, and before we guess the price, whatever someone pays for this, they are paying for their own murder. It is terrifying.
If you could program it to have whatever voice you wanted.
Oh, I thought you were going, what chore would you want me to do? What
Okay,
Samuel L. Jackson is the only answer.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, man, like some Sam Kinison would be hilarious.
Yeah, well, I mean, same sort of genre of loud and bombastic.
Yeah.
What you don't want is like a sexy female voice of your household robot, because I feel like that would cause some issues.
Isn't that a movie?
It is. Great movie. Anyway, um, what household chore would you want this to do?
I if I say cleaning the bathrooms, is that too broad? Like, do I have to say cleaning the shower or cleaning the toilet or cleaning the sinks, or can I just say bathrooms?
Bathrooms is great. I think it definitely does bathrooms. Okay, I got one for you, but mowing the lawn.
You have like a postage stamp and you can't be bothered. Plus, you've got a he's an eighth grader this year, an eighth
Yeah.
grade boy. Put him. He's out there. Get him some extra leg work. Push.
Okay. What do you think this thing costs? You want to get? You can guess the dollar price or the purchase price and the rent price.
So I feel like I saw a number for a competitor's robot. That doesn't necessarily mean anything when it comes to this one. I will say 75 grand.
$20,000. And here's the crazy part. If you want to rent it, it's only $499 a month.
Yikes.
I'll send you this and you can go through and watch the video and stuff. Dame, it's terrifying. Like, it literally is terrifying. So anyway, Dame, what is in the news this week?
Just imagining it, walking out and getting a glass of water in the middle of the night, and you look over in the corner, all of a sudden its eyes light up and stare at you in a color that it normally doesn't have because it's gone into security mode instead of like friendly helper around the house.
You're back in your room. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, no. All right, Mr. Jackson.
In today's hiring market, it's not what you know, it's where you learned it that could give you an edge. Oh my gosh. With the labor market tightening for entry-level hires and the unemployment rate for recent grads hitting 9.3% late last year, companies are refocusing their campus recruiting efforts on a small group of elite schools, the Wall Street Journal reports. A Veris Insight survey of 150 plus employers last year found that 26% were exclusively recruiting from a short list of schools compared to just 17% in 2022. William Chichester the third, who formerly headed up entry-level recruiting for companies including Target and Peloton, told the paper that the most companies currently only search for talent at about 30 of the U.S. 4,000 colleges around the country, mostly at top-ranked schools and those local to them. The reasons recruiters gave the Wall Street Journal for scaling back recruitment to only the most Ivy-covered places to take Psych 101 were varied. They ranged from rolling back diversity goals that had caused companies to cast a wider net in recent years to preferring in-person recruitment to virtual events to educational pedigree being more prioritized when ChatGPT writes the same resume for everybody. Either way, it's likely to lead to an even more stress-filled season for high school seniors desperately refining their personal essays.
We were just talking about that today of like how different application / resume process is with AI than it was without AI. Like, because everything's the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of things that our life will be made better because of AI. I think it's really hard to explain to a student or a recent grad how, to all of them, by the way, that by them all submitting the same AI generated responses that everyone loses, right? No one wins.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to stand out and do it like everybody else.
What else is in the news?
Like a smoke alarm at a Michelin star kitchen. A proposed California ballot measure is already sending billionaires scrambling for the exits, even though it's not officially on the ballot yet. The idea, backed by a healthcare union, would slap a one-time 5% tax on the assets of California billionaires. Supporters say it could raise up to $100 billion from about 200 people, with most of the money earmarked to backfill healthcare funding after recent federal cuts. Billionaires would get 5 years to pay, which is still longer than most of us get to pay a parking ticket. And some of the wealthy residents appear to be taking this threat seriously. Larry Page, Google co-founder and longtime California resident, recently filed paperwork to incorporate companies in Florida, according to the New York Times. Venture capitalist Peter Thiel and David Sachs also opened offices outside of California on December 31st, one day before the proposal would apply retroactively. As for what happens next, still murky. The measure still needs signatures to qualify, faces organized opposition, and even Gavin Newsom is against it. But one thing's clear, when California floats a billionaire tax, U-Haul stock starts to look pretty interesting.
I feel like Austin, Texas city limits just got filled with California billionaires. I don't think this goes without saying, and it won't. That's terrible policy.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, the first time that gets enacted, it's just cracking the door to all sorts of justifiable one-time taxes on whoever they want.
I mean, I have no problem with income tax. I really don't. I think this is another level of property tax, and I think property taxes themselves are can be misplaced. But this one is very bad, and I'm really not a billionaire.
I have way more problems with property tax than I do income tax.
Yeah, I do too, but I still think there is a place for property tax, but I think it just gets a little weird. We still need community services and schools and fire and police.
Sure.
We need those things.
Absolutely. Yep.
What else is the news?
Wall Street spent years rolling its eyes at crypto, and today it's rolling out products. Bitcoin picked up another blue chip stamp of approval after Morgan Stanley filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission to launch an exchange-traded fund holding Bitcoin and Solana. Asset management heavyweights like BlackRock and Fidelity already offer crypto ETFs, but if approved, Morgan Stanley would be the first major Wall Street bank to jump directly into the crypto business.
This was simply a matter of time. By the way, the crypto market did not take off and stay up like I thought it would in 2025. I wonder, Dame, quick prediction. Maybe we save it for the prediction show, but yeah, let's save that for the prediction show. Next week's prediction show, top stocks, how did we do last year, biggest losers, what's the market going to do, and Bitcoin. Like, what is it going to do? So we'll find out how Dame's Vera Bradley pick went next week on the show. Sending you good vibes, because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner. This is the Pete the Planner Shout. And I'm out of practice at this. I find myself wanting to talk about everything other than money. I want to talk world events on the show, but I'm just also don't at all want to talk about world events on the show.
Yeah. Because there were a number of things that we could have chased that had like a political bent to them. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I have no appetite to do that.
Be honest with me. This is how I feel. I feel like I want to sit down and talk about all of those things with you off of the air with a beverage.
Sure.
But I have no desire to really like publicly talk about those things. I don't know if that makes me a coward or I just don't want I'd love to talk about them. I just don't really want to talk about them publicly.
So there was a story I had in my queue in case I really wanted to go there, in case the conversation today kind of led towards it. But if you, it leans political in nature, talking about some stuff. If you don't mind, I'll spend 60 seconds reading it, and you can just get a flavor for what's going on.
Go ahead.
And we don't own a crystal ball, but if we did, we would have bought silver last January. But we do own a calendar, and for investors heading into 2026, that should be plenty. Yes, geopolitics will move markets, with the U.S. striking Venezuela, Donald Trump making noise about Greenland, and the war between Ukraine and Russia grinding on. But the biggest market disruptions may be coming from right here at home. Start with the Supreme Court of the United States, which could rule any day now on Trump's tariff authority. If the court limits his use of emergency powers, it could weaken future tariffs and potentially trigger billions in refunds. Then there's the Washington dysfunction. The longest government shutdown in history just wrapped up, and Congress is already racing towards another funding deadline at the end of January. Even a shorter shutdown still hits workers, contractors, and confidence. Monetary policy is also on deck. Jerome Powell sees his term as Fed Reserve Chair end in May, and Trump is expected to move quickly on a replacement. Markets will be watching closely. Add in a summer review of the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade deal, midterm elections in November, and here's the historical footnote investors love. Midterm years can be choppy, but even months after the election day are usually strong for the S&P 500. America turns 250 this year, but based on the calendar, fireworks may not be limited to July. So there's lots of stuff going on. At some point, we're going to have to get into that, but not today.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, lots to think about as I go into my Wednesday night and stress eat at home. Dame, thanks so much for spending time with me today. Good luck to you and yours tomorrow. Everyone else, thanks for spending time with us, and stay getting money.